pace goes down exponentially. So I think that's a concern for him a little bit. He's like, damn it, why do I have to be such an awesome healer? I think he's had those internal dialogues with himself.
I can see this now. Hey, nurse, I need a little something special over here.
No, that's a different move.
What is it? Take this sledgehammer, and I want you to hit me right in the wrist.
Look, I'll give
slam it.
I'll give you $1,000.
Slam it, baby.
Between us.
As hard as you can.
This is just between us. $1,000.
$1,000. We're in. I'm glad he's doing well, all joking aside.
Yeah.
There will be everyone in the chat room's already asking why we haven't heard from BZ yet. But I don't know if they're actually...
Well, you know what? We have a game here on the Sackheads radio show. It's don't show up and don't call.
No.
And...
No. And we don't have that game.
We do have
That's
that
a game you try to play, and nobody else wants to get on board with it. It's like you keep coming out with Monopoly.
Right. I'm like, no, it's like a Ouija board. It's fine.
Right.
Trust me. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Well, like Clint, nobody wants to play Monopoly anymore. No, we're going to play Monopoly. Everyone's down with it. Okay, we'll play Monopoly again.
See?
It's the whole, we don't call, we don't write, we don't care what happens, blah, 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 blah. That's not a fun game for the rest of us. Though I knew at 7:45 last week that you weren't coming. And the only reason I knew that is because it was 7:45 and I didn't get the call saying, hey, just so you know, I'm running there now.
Right.
So I, on the other hand, and BZ, who communicate like normal human beings, I knew that BZ was not going to be here. He was a little under the weather. It might have something to do with the fact that he's jumping onto every show that he possibly can on the SHR Media Network. And I believe the term we're looking for is whoring himself out.
Whoring himself out. That's the proper term.
But he's feeling a little bit under the weather. He is in chat room and he is listening, and we hope he feels better. Because it is his age, you have to worry about those things.
No, you
right?
do.
You get a sniffle.
You do.
End of the world.
Look, hard to keep a good man down.
Right.
That's why there's Viagra.
No, I mean at your age, yeah.
Yeah, your age.
He says he'd prefer to be called a strumpet.
Strumpet.
That does gussy up the pig a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit. You know what? I would never call BZ a pig.
Just the act.
Appreciate
the act
that.
Is what I was saying.
You know what I just realized? I realized my headset says Sennheiser. Is that German for shithead?
No.
Is there a reason I have these?
Yes, but that's not the specific reason.
Perfect.
We got to move on. It's been a busy week in politics.
Hang on, I have one more minute. So I have one more thing.
Oh, you have 30 seconds.
I do want to congratulate. I'm actually really excited. So I haven't followed football this year because I think there are a bunch of crybaby
football players.
That being said, college football, a little bit of college ball, particularly University of Hawaii. Anybody who listens to this show long enough knows that that's my team.
Yep.
And it looks like this year they're actually going to get a bowl berth in the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl. They were 6-7, which doesn't sound bad. It's usually a 12-game season. They had some tough games in the beginning, including kicking off the season in Australia against Cal. So they did pretty well in the Mountain West Conference and had a couple of good wins, particularly against Air Force in the triple overtime game, which was amazing. And they're actually going to get a bowl berth on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve Bowl, the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl, which is one of the ESPN bowls. So it's not like a tiny bowl. It's a decent game.
It's not like a dog bowl.
It's not like a dog bowl
it's
or
a football bowl.
Cat ball. It's a not a punch bowl.
Not a punch bowl.
Or a soup bowl. So I'm excited about it. Christmas Eve, University of Hawaii. In the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl. First bowl game in a few years.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah, so congratulations, U of H football.
Isn't that nice? Good for them. I'm happy for them. I really am. I don't know crap about it, but good for them.
Yeah, good for them. A new coach this year. Norm Chow got fired last year.
Yeah.
So, top it. See? Perfect. 1 minute.
Oh, God. I love which clock you watch. Depends on your need at the moment.
There's one clock that faces me.
Not including the 3 on your phone, the computer, They're all set for like 1 minute increments. So when you want to go long, you're
Yes.
like, "Hey, the clock in my car says it's only
I just say,
8:14."
hey, the clock. I don't say which clock. I'm not stupid. Maybe a little bit.
You know what? There's some current evidence that could argue that.
This is
You're really dooming yourself. So moving right along, it is. We got some of the best news.
You know who we need to hire on this network?
Let's just go with what you have to say.
Gary Gnu.
There's no GNUs like good GNUs with Gary GNUs.
Sorry, you just said we have news, and that made me think of that.
Literally within the last hour, I'm just getting a news report that Ken McClinton put in the chat room, and it has to do with looks like a Tacoma police officer was shot responding to a domestic violence call in the last hour. So our thoughts and prayers are with him or her, because that's pretty sad, and hopefully they catch the perpetrator here pretty quick. However, the good news we got this week that involved death was Castro. Fidel Castro finally died. I'm okay with that. I actually feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm okay
Makes
with
me
that.
happy. I do want to discuss the craziness on the left. That there are some people who are actually like talking about. It's like saying, "What about all the good things that Hitler did?" They're like talking about
Right.
what are all the good things that Castro did?
Like what?
He brought some people together, and he brought equality between this race and that race, and this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, yeah, but the guy who's killed anyone that's ever defied him, Che Guevara was in his cabinet. You remember Che? He was the guerrilla militant, the terrorist.
Yeah, he's the
These
guy-
days, he'd be a terrorist. We called him a militant.
He's the guy that has his picture on all those fashionable handbags and T-shirts.
He's a model.
He's a model.
He's just a model.
He's kind of like an Abercrombie model. He's like a Calvin Klein model.
Yeah. So the Prime Minister, Kel, what do you guys call him? Dudley Do right there, the guy that runs your country.
The Mount Me.
The Mountie that's the president or whatever the hell.
The Mount Me guy who runs stuff over there.
The Prime. There goes our entire Canadian listening audience once again.
Bye, Kel. Sorry.
Oh gosh, sorry, Kel.
He's in charge of the Air Force, like he spins the props on the Cessna.
She says they call him a shiny pony.
A shiny pony.
That's from a Canadian. So the Canadian leader, Shiny Pony.
So the shiny pony.
PM Tater Tot is the other name that they have for him. Cheesy Tater Tots. Like, threw out a whole bunch of praise for Castro.
Fidel.
And I just thought to myself, and you know what? I don't give Obama a lot of credit, but we're not sending a contingency for the state funeral, which I'm actually happy about. I'm actually impressed more than anything else. I'm shocked.
Well, that's just because nobody wanted to go.
Well, no, because, they'll find some jackass that would want to go, right? Especially in this administration. Are you kidding me? He probably had to tell people no. Honestly. Like, no, we're not going. Well, I already have my bag packed. And he's where we wanted to go.
Do you think somebody... Okay, so do you think it's that, or do you think there's a new administration getting ready to come in, and it's setting the tone for the president-elect?
Nah, I don't think he cares.
Because we know... Well, look, we do know Trump and Obama have met.
Yeah, but I still don't think Obama cares.
We know they talked.
Yeah.
And there is kind of that tradition where former presidents help new presidents.
There is. And the left demands that, but I don't think that they will. If Hillary was coming in, or when the left is coming into a conservative president, they demand that. They will talk about doing it all for this president. I don't think it's happening.
It seems like it, though, because the Trump hasn't been saying that hasn't been happening.
Yeah, I just don't buy it.
Okay.
And I don't want to count Biden in that, because Joe said Biden is going to Cuba. He thinks it's an Amtrak to Delaware, which is possible. I don't want to include Biden because I think Biden's setting pranks up around the house for Trump. But that's different. I don't think that's an administrative idea. I just think that's Biden.
Biden.
Right? And I could actually see him doing that, believe it or not. But
Watch this. He's going to hit the emergency button. A stripper pole's going to pop up. It's going to be great. It's going to be freaking great.
now, Joe, that's actually not a trick. That's something we told you to take out 3 years ago. It was left over from the Clinton administration. And
Oh, really? I've been using it.
yeah, watch me do a spin.
Yeah, it's a freaking party. Watch this.
But so one of the few times you'll hear me say I give this president credit, he's not sending somebody. And nor should he be. Listen, I don't think anybody who reads history understands who Fidel Castro is and was. I don't think that anybody who's ever paid a little bit of attention knows who Castro is or was. You have these leftist loons, and T-Bone and I, T-Bone was in studio earlier, our buddy T-Bone, we were just having a conversation about the mental illness among, that I think is a mental illness at this point, many on the left, the same people who are out protesting the election, same people who are talking about getting rid of the Electoral College, the same people who are crying because they don't know what they're going to tell their daughters because Hill Dog didn't get elected. These are the same people who are wearing the Shea shirts, who are wearing the Mao hats and all this other stuff. They don't know who this asshole really was.
And I think it's a product of oftentimes what they're learning or what they're not learning in school.
Right.
In a lot of schools, particularly at the universities. Look at our university system and the problems that they have and the trouble that it's in. Are you kidding me? These are adults, and you have cry spaces.
Yes. Oh, my God, yes.
And you have coloring and puppies and hugs.
Chocolate milk? Are you shitting me?
Seriously. And professors canceling exams and having mental health counseling sessions because of an election, a lost election.
Oh, I love it.
This is what the left has come to. And so a lot of these people, they don't read the history, they haven't studied the history, or if they have, they've studied it from a certain perspective, right? Like Sackhead Michaela.
Mm-hmm.
She had, if you remember, we talked about it on the air, when she was, 5-6 years ago, when she was a senior in high school, her advanced placement United States history class,
yes,
a college level class, was teaching from Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States.
Genius!
Which is completely left, anti-capitalist, and
I think even saying it's left is almost an insult to it or as to what it's trying to achieve.
Yes.
It's well beyond left. And I'm not saying that I agree with it.
That was their textbook. And so being the good person I was, I bought her a Patriots History of the United States to counter.
Help them out.
But
this is how you help kids out.
Yes.
Oops, sorry.
But that's the perspective that many kids are getting taught, and even now actors, actresses, Hollywood, people that are becoming adults and getting into positions of power, that's how they think.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And you have these kids who are out there. And listen, we talk about it all the time. Even the people that are just straight socialists and not the hardcore communists. Oh, everything free. Look right now at what's going on in Venezuela. It doesn't work out no matter what. And we know that. But here's the difference. Castro murdered any dissidents. Anyone who opposed was lined up and shot. They shot down Americans who were flying too close. He was a monster of a human being. Now, as technology advanced, you had more news coverage. No matter what they tried to do, the people in that country had a better chance of getting stories out, and he got a little bit older. He lessened that rhetoric. But that didn't change what he did or what he believed in. And I guarantee you, if Cuba opens up more in the future, we will hear those stories lasted to this past year. Mm-hmm. There were still people disappearing off the streets. If they caught you trying to make a raft. I was listening to this story online about this guy who was talking about, when I was 9, I rode on a raft from Cuba to Florida with my family that we built out of junk because it was so bad in Cuba, my father was willing to risk all of our lives to try to get to a better place, to be a legitimate political refugee.
Yep.
And for a parent to put their children in that situation, and this isn't the Syrian refugee argument, anything, we're not going down that road right now, but that's despair. And that's a small island. You know, there's a reason they tried to kill him 496 different times, I think. There are 496 documented assassination attempts on Fidel Castro through his entire life. And my only question is, why wasn't there 500? 501, 502 from his own people? I mean, any coup d'etat that was even thought about, they just went down. It's like North Korea is. The things we talk about that happened today in North Korea have been happening for Cuba for years. And there are people out there mourning his death. If Kim Jong-un kicked tomorrow, even better, let's go back, 2 years ago to Kim Jong-il? Nobody mourned. They were all glad he was dead. Everybody, even leftists. This guy was a civil rights violator, this, that, and the other thing.
What's the difference?
None. He's a totalitarian, lunatic fucking dictator.
Yes. But this is why they celebrate, yet they celebrate Mao.
Right. Right. Why don't you celebrate Lenin?
And Marx.
Hitler. Why don't you celebrate Hitler?
Oh, no,
he was a socialist.
No. Hitler is...
He killed everyone that opposed him.
No, Hitler is from the right.
No. He was an uber leftist socialist. There was...
No. He was from the right.
Stop, because...
Look, no. And
if we have any new listeners, they're about to punch you in the mouth, and I know you're kidding.
And so to explain, and when I say right or left, it's a joke here on the show, and if you followed us long enough, you understand why. Because fascism and communism are two opposite ends of an up and down continuum on the left-right spectrum.
Yes.
So on the left end of the spectrum, you have total government, which would be, some people say, oh, that's communism. No. Total government is total government. And then on the right is limited government, the farther right you go, which is more true around our right or left spectrum. So if we're arguing fascism, communism, which a lot of people equate as a right-left argument,
right,
that is an argument on the entire big government side of the spectrum that is actually an up-down argument.
Right,
which
different ladder.
Yes, which on the big government side, on the left end of the spectrum for people that are drawing pictures right now, up is fascism, it's still total government.
We're drawing pictures.
Down is communism, it's still total government.
There's somebody at home going, slow down, just slow down.
Okay.
Up is what?
Up is what? And that's why fascists and communists hate each other. Yet they're both big government. That's the irony about this whole thing. It's ironical, as Big Fat Polly would say.
Right.
I like how Shaun's actually drawing the picture right now.
I am. I'm scribbling it down.
I know you are.
Just in case in the future something comes up.
You could screenshot it.
Just in case the next
but that's what
murderous dictator does, and we have the same conversation.
Hitler was right-wing extremist. No, he wasn't. He was a big government leftist.
He confiscated guns from people he didn't agree with.
Yes.
That's a pretty leftist take in life.
Yes.
And then used rhetoric and lies and media propaganda
and education
in order to focus on a certain group of people, education, in order to focus on a certain group of people to have them eliminated. This time it was by religion, but it could have been by political beliefs if they wanted to.
Or race.
Or whatever. Whatever whatever that group felt necessary at the time. Hey, we're up against a break.
Hell yeah, we are.
Hell yeah, we are. When we come back, what are we going to talk about, buddy?
Talk about Trump and his cabinet picks.
Trump, the woodworker, because he's building a cabinet. We'll be back right here on the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Get in the live chat.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Shaun from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Shaun.
Dude, I'm not saying calf was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Shaun, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live in the SHR Media Network. So, Clint, somebody in the chat room, because I do have the YouTube feed going, I only have one camera.
Okay.
And somebody asked to see the ladder that I drew last segment. So, there it is. I didn't add any notes yet, but I'll
Right.
get to that.
Which camera's up?
This one, right here.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're trying it. I just have to remember everything you can't do when somebody's watching you all the time. No, I can do that. It's our show. But if you follow us on YouTube, I do have the live stream going on YouTube. Just trying it out before we break into it. So don't.
Wait, hang on.
Oh God. Yep. This is where it gets awkward on such a regular high. Yep. Just got really awkward.
That was a live. Why is that awkward?
Get out of my face now.
You should see what we do when the camera's off.
Here's the ladder one more time. I'm gonna.
drawing a ladder?
Thank God we have a shower in the studio because I'm definitely
Because
gonna
we're
need
gonna
one.
go getting it as soon as the show's over.
And then-
that's what I was
And
thinking.
then the YouTube channel's really going on.
Amazing. Well, then it turns into a pay site for everybody that wants to know.
$9.99 every 5 minutes. So now that everyone's throwing up their midnight snack on the East Coast, Trump's cabinet. Let's open up Trump's cabinet. Let's
open you up.
Oh, that's going to be saved forever. Thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God that video will be there until well after I die. I can't wait for my kids to watch it. That's going to be great.
What, the shower one?
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not watching that one. The little kiss on the cheek? Nah, no big deal. We're in California. It's okay. We're libertarians, Shaun. And we're conservatives, but we got a little libertarian lean to us.
Oh, man. Yeah, good time. So, anyhow.
Too bad Ken's not here. We could make a reverse Oreo. Anyways.
Oh, God, the images that just happened in my head. So,
creamy filling. Go ahead.
So, anyhow, where were we?
Trump's cabinet.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I'm okay so far with his cabinet picks.
For the most part.
I actually think that our prediction is coming true. We talked about the fact, if you remember, that we said, hey, look, I think he'd put together a team of rivals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's...
Ken would be 2/3 in that. Sorry, Ken. Hey, the comment, if I'm not looking at chat the whole time and I catch up on something, it's my fault.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow. Wow. So I think he's actually staying true to that, and I say that because I know he was looking at. I mean, obviously Sessions, he was looking at for Attorney General. We'll see if he gets confirmed.
I don't think he's going to have any problem confirming anybody. I don't really think that's a problem.
Sessions? Oh, the Democrats are already lining up.
Yeah, but they don't have the numbers to really do anything with it, so they can bitch all they want. Yeah, and listen, Sessions is going to get dragged through the mud for comments that he allegedly made 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And we know that they're going to put on the media charade and all this other crap, but he's going to get it.
I hope so, because I think he'd be okay. But what really surprised me, pleasantly surprised me, not because I like the guy, but because it actually proved that I was right, is when he met with Romney.
Yeah.
And
that's been everybody. And I want to get to Romney. Let's go down who he's picked so far, and then talk about who he hasn't. So Representative Tom Price, Secretary of Health and Human Services, he's a Georgia rep. Huge opponent of the Affordable Care Act, which is great.
Which is good.
And he's an orthopedic surgeon, so he actually has some idea.
If Trump gets hurt, then he's got a doctor right there on staff.
He describes himself as a Tea Partier and opposes both abortion and gay marriage. And naturally, people are gonna say what they want to say about that. It's like everything else. They're going to do everything they can to rip apart people. I think the biggest controversial one is Betsy DeVos, Secretary of Department of Ed, only because she was involved with that group that kind of went pro Common Core, even though she wasn't directly involved. She had some support for it, etc. But she was not a Trump supporter from the beginning. But she's a huge charter school advocate. Her American Federation of Children really pushes for charter schools. I think charter schools are great. I think that she has the ability to be really, really good at it. I think she can be effective.
Who are we talking about?
Her name is Betsy DeVos.
Okay.
Secretary of Department of Ed.
You know who I'm really impressed with is Flynn, Michael Flynn, as his national security advisor.
Okay.
So far,
listen.
Look, I like that pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Flynn is a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Been around a while, obviously. I think that he's going to give him solid advice. Also been a supporter. We called Flynn being in a cabinet post. I thought maybe he'd be one of the Joint Chiefs.
Yeah.
But hey, national security advisor. I think that's a great role for him. Mike Pompeo for director of the CIA.
Mm-hmm. Great. I'm okay with that too.
I really like. So here's a team of rivals. Nikki Haley.
Yes.
As the UN ambassador.
Well,
so this shows me, and we'll talk about each of these like you said, but this shows me that look, Nikki Haley was not a Trump supporter.
No.
At first, right? And neither was Romney, and I know we're going to talk to Romney here a little bit later. But look, he is going through. Trump did not build a multi-billion-dollar empire by being stupid or by not surrounding himself with people
he believes can get the job done.
He believes can get the job done, regardless if they agree with him or not. So the fact that he is picking these people and putting them together, I'm pleased. I'm very pleased with. What do you think about Nikki Haley? That was kind of a surprise.
Listen, and it was a surprise. I know we talk about the whole he'll pick the right person. Nikki Haley, down to her core, I think is a very true American.
Absolutely.
She was a uber conservative sweetheart, and I mean that in a good way for years. She's very outspoken. She's very smart. I think considering, minimal foreign policy experience, but, I don't really care. Neither does Samantha Powers, in my opinion, so I don't see what that is. But I think, and again, with all of these picks in the cabinet, you have to understand that these people are not coming up with what they want policy to be. They are furthering the president's policy in a specific way. And in that case, I think that Haley will do a good job as long as she stays true to following the president's policies.
And I think she will. Look, Trump's not stupid. He's putting people in positions where I think, where he knows that they are in line with his beliefs. So by him putting Nikki Haley as the UN ambassador, that tells me that Trump thinks the UN is a bunch of bullshit. Because, look, Nikki Haley is a Tea Party darling.
Yep.
Right? She is not a big UN supporter.
Ooh.
So the fact that he put that in her he put her in that position is either a big F you to her, which I don't think,
no,
because he wants to get a job done, or it shows where his mindset is on that. Just like you were talking about Betsy DeVos, right? She was a millionaire, a billionaire businesswoman, and also known for school voucher. School choice, like you said, I think she's anti-Common Core.
Well, she was involved with a group that was pushing Common Core, but I don't know how closely. There's been a bunch of back and forth about that one specific group that she worked with. But she's huge into charter schools, which is kind of the opposite of Common Core.
Yes.
Very much so. So, and I'm a big proponent. I think charter schools are huge. So I think there you have a good choice. Secretary of Transportation, you have the former Labor Secretary, Elaine Chao, who served under President Bush when she was appointed as Labor Secretary. She was there for 8 years. And, she is married to Mitch McConnell. Well, but, nobody's perfect, right?
Nobody's perfect. White House counsel, Donald McGahan.
For the council.
Going to be an attorney now.
Mick going to have a job now.
Big Mick, I don't know. Anyways, he was went to the Navy Academy, Notre Dame guy. I don't know much about him. I know he was a former FEC guy, former Federal Election Committee guy. What do you think about Deputy National Security Advisor, Kathleen McFarland?
I always liked Katie McFarland. I always found her to be informative and intelligent.
Fox News analyst.
Yeah, and that's where I saw her a bunch, obviously, like everyone else. But I guess she'll be okay, as long as she's following as long as nobody here mavericks and does their own thing, right, and they use their qualities to further the policy. Then I think we're doing okay. Steve Mnuchin, Secretary of Treasury.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that pick a lot.
Yeah.
It shows he's getting away from that Ivy League crap, real world experience. Ivy League, and he's putting together people that are...
he understands money.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not only the finance chair for Trump, but he did 17 years as Goldman Sachs and became a partner. And then he's been involved with some pretty big purchases and some pretty big money movement. I think he will do well, kind of along the same category in a way, is Wilbur Ross for Secretary of Commerce. Listen, this guy made his money.
Former banker.
But he made his money in industries like steel and coal, buying companies and restructuring them and fixing them. And that goes along with what Trump was saying about bringing some industry back, right? Taking care of the coal industry, lifting some regulations off of other industries that have choked those industries out, i.e. steel specifically, in my opinion. He's against free trade agreements, all that stuff. So I think that I think he will do well. Again, all of these, he's picking a lot of people who are really kind of not well known. So it's hard. Well, I mean, some of them are well known, but so far,
Someone
picks like that.
Seema Verma, the administrator of Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. I don't know anything about her.
Nothing.
Nothing about her. Todd Ricketts. I know he's part owner of the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
So another business guy.
Yeah.
Right. A son of the Ameritrade founder. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I don't know much about the guy. But again, big business.
Yep.
Right? Businessman, business mentality, not an Ivy League.
Right, actually,
I studied books.
Has done it, has been there. The rubber's met the road with these people. All people so far that I'm okay with from what I know of them. You look at offers that are out there right now. You have Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Ben Carson. We've talked about, I would have liked to have seen him offered Surgeon General. Head of HHS was allegedly offered, but he turned it down. He wasn't sure what he was going to do, and this offer hasn't been accepted. But I think Ben Carson has a lot to bring to this administration in one capacity or another. I really believe that. So I hope he accepts it, and if not, will be involved on some level. And now you start talking about some of the big ones. You have Secretary of Veterans Affairs. You have names thrown around like Governor Palin and Rick Perry. Secretary of the Interior, Governor Palin again, and Mary Fallon are believed to be on the choices. It's funny how Sarah all of a sudden showed up again. Not that she's ever gone away, Governor Palin, but she hasn't been on the forefront. She helped Trump during the campaign, but as far as being involved in a lot of things, she's been doing her own thing for a while. She's been chiming in when it's important. I like Governor Palin. I've always liked Governor Palin, and it's just good to see her, drain the swamp. You look at what the old GOP did to her in that election, and they hung her out to dry, in my opinion, and then did nothing to defend her when she started getting attacked. So the fact that she's now starting to come back into that light because she feels comfortable with the party, I think is a good sign. Secretary of Defense, a couple names on that list. Tom Cotton, Jim Talent, and James Mattis are all the leading contenders. I'm personally pulling from Mattis on this one. I don't dislike Cotton whatsoever, but I think Mattis is the person you go to. Listen, when you want a military morale to be up, which it's destroyed right now, you need to regain that military drive, focus, and you need to get Mattis, or you need to get somebody in there who's going to lead those troops because he's been there. I think Mattis is a good person for that right now. I know just Agador's in the chat room yelling, Allen West, Allen West, Allen West. I don't disagree. But I
agree with Agador.
I don't disagree whatsoever.
Right.
But here's the difference. Mattis has been on that upper echelon a little bit higher than Allen West does. And Mattis wasn't a politician. Allen West was a politician. And my saying for that is I think there is a better position that will suit Allen West's ability. That's the hard part. Where would you put him? And it could be one of those things where, hey, you have Mattis for 2 years to kind of get everybody back on board, and then you have Allen West come in 2 years when Mattis wants to retire, which some cabinet members don't last that long usually. You absolutely have somebody come in, Allen West, who then starts doing the finite details. And I think, like I said, and Homeland Security would be another good one for Allen West. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I know Sheriff Clark is being mentioned for that a lot, as is Rudy Giuliani. You get to...
How do you not go with Giuliani?
Well, he's going to end up somewhere.
Giuliani is going to end up somewhere. I believe.
He wants Sec State. I don't know if he's going to get it. I've heard David Petraeus being mentioned for that. Bob Corker, obviously John Bolton, Rudy Giuliani. I think Bolton needs to go to an advisory role.
John Bolton, the former ambassador?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be an advisory role. Or an advisor to Trump on foreign policy. I actually want him home more. And I know Secretary of State and foreign policy go hand in hand, but the person delivering the message and the person helping develop the message doesn't have to be the same person.
What about the press secretary?
We'll get back to press secretary because I have my
Really?
opinions on that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I honestly think you could see Hannity be the press secretary at this point.
Yeah, he already. It's going to be what's her name?
Coulter.
No.
Not Coulter. Yeah, I can't think of it.
From Fox.
Well, that's one you've seen thrown out.
No, I think she took it.
Nothing's been taken yet. Nothing has been taken yet.
Really?
You may see Katrina Pearson, as Ken's pointing out right now. You also have Kellyanne Conway. Any one of those could be press sec and do a really good job at it. Laura Ingram's the word. Yep, that's her.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Laura
Jersey
Ingram.
Joe.
Thank you.
I couldn't pull it out at that moment. I would not be opposed to Katrina Pearson. Jersey Joe for press secretary, I think that would go well. Getting that New Jersey kind of mentality out there, I think that's a great pick as well.
Yeah. Sackhead Shaun.
I would not be good at it.
Sackhead Clint.
You would be better at it than I would be.
I would be like, that's a stupid freaking question.
Well, but you're better at screwing with people for a long period
What are
of time.
you talking about?
I get frustrated.
You do.
And so
I
literally
toy with
like
them
the
a lot.
first
I'm like a cat.
yeah, you'll drag somebody in and let them like twist in the wind for a little bit. I'm not like that.
Right.
After like the second dumb question, I'm like, and you're gone. Next, throw him out. No, throw him out.
You are.
I want him thrown out.
You are. I continue to mess with them.
Yeah, and that's just not my forte.
And make them look stupider and stupider as they ask the same question.
Yeah,
They get
I'd be
frustrated.
horrible. Joe and I would be the same. We'd just be swearing at people left and right. It just wouldn't work well. So press sec's going to be interesting. There's a lot of really good people that'll be good for it. And again, you go into that whole, you're looking at 4 years. A lot of these people don't stay in these positions for the entire 4 years. So there may be people set for the setup and then people for the follow through in a lot of these positions.
Look, I want to get to.
Sec State, well, we have 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
That's the big one. So
That's the big one. We got 6 minutes left. So look, he met with Romney.
Yep.
There are a lot of Trump supporters who were upset that he met with Romney.
Yep.
I understand that to a point.
I understand if it.
Look, no, I do. I understand it. I really do. I shouldn't say I understand it to a point. I say I agree with it to a point. So let me rephrase that. I completely understand why they're upset. That being said, Romney is a very, very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And,
I agree with that.
And Trump, look, Obama put Hillary Clinton in as Secretary of State, and we talked about it back then, so he kept an eye on her. He kind of kept her reeled in, and she was in, and she actually, she was in a position to get people killed. But with Romney is a very, very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Romney could do well in that position.
Trump wants Romney to go to the White House and do all the booby traps Joe set up.
So
you're the Secretary of Springing Traps. Go get him, kid.
I'll do that. So I actually like the fact that he reached out. Even if he doesn't pick him, I like the fact that he reached out because it proves that I was right.
Well,
about Team of Rivals. But beyond that, I'm going to stop bragging. I like it because it shows that regardless of the personal problems he's had with somebody,
he's willing to hear.
He's willing to look past that and get the best people, or look at getting the best people for the job for the good of the country.
Or he's going to have the last laugh, and after what Romney said during the campaign, turn around and be like, oh yeah, by the way, Mitt, thanks for coming. It's not going to happen. And just screw with them. Because part of me would think that was a riot too. Like, yeah, you know what, I brought them all in, but didn't hire him for a reason. Because he wasn't good enough. Which is why he didn't win an election. So, moving right along.
That would be funny. And if Trump could come on Sackheads
and talk about
that, that would be amazing because that's the kind of jackassery we enjoy. However, I think he's past that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trump is past that.
Right. I just don't see Rudy getting the spot. I actually don't
Do you see Romney getting it?
I don't know. That's the hardest. I'm having a hard time with this one.
Romney? I know you understand the frustration, just as like I understand people being frustrated with that.
Right. Well, listen, all joking aside, Romney knows international business. He knows how to get deals done. He was a successful businessman.
Yep.
We've talked about that before. Romney, and the only difference between Romney and Trump as far as being successful in business is Trump's more outspoken about his politics. Romney's a pussycat. Now,
you didn't have to add the word cat.
Cat at the end, right. When you're talking about going overseas, I think he could be semi-effective. I don't think he could be as effective. I don't think he's aggressive enough. As much as I hate John Kerry at least will talk a big talk, even though we know that what they do behind closed doors is totally different, right? Oh, Iran will never, blah, blah. Hey, Iran is doing all the things you said they weren't going to do. Yeah, well, we all knew that was going to happen, right? But at least he'll go out and talk a talk on some level. Romney, I don't think has the I don't think he has the testicular fortitude that position needs in a current America, in a modern world where you have so many countries that are starting to push us around. I think you need somebody that will push back.
You need somebody that can snap America back into
being who we are
and set a tone early.
Yep, really
but
early.
I think Trump will do that.
But I also think your Secretary of State, who's shaking hands with a lot of these leaders, needs to be able to convey that same message in person.
See,
I think that's important.
I see that point.
I think that's important.
Trump has the capability of being so direct that in this case, he might want a Secretary of State that can come in and smooth the feathers back down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In which case, Romney would be a good pick.
Well, but how soon do you want those feathers to go back down? I think
as soon as you send him. No, Mitt, you're not getting on the plane yet.
I think the international cage needs to be rattled a lot.
Okay.
I think a lot of people who the last 8 years have felt that it's okay to push us around, not just in trade deals, but you look at ISIS, you look at all these, you look at the Russians right now.
So you'd be in favor of putting Obama in that position?
No, no.
No.
Yeah, because he's such an ass kicker.
You said kiss, sir?
Let's throw President Mom Jeans over there. Holy Lord. I think Rudy would be better at that. I really do. I think Rudy would be better about carrying the White House's message, but still be enough of a diplomat where
Chris Christie.
No. Bull in a china shop. Christie's done. You will not see him ever again. He's going to disappear and go away.
Because of the whole Bridgegate.
Because Trump got what he needed out of him, and now he's gone. I think
I just talk about for somebody being brash and shaking the cage.
Oh, but I think Rudy can do that as well. He's got that New Yorker attitude, but he's also got that ability to be that courtroom lawyer when he needs to, right? Control that anger, push that case in the direction you want it to go, stick to the facts, get loud when you need to, but then soften up that tone. He was a successful prosecutor. He was a good prosecutor.
Mm-hmm. So was Christie, to be fair.
Giuliani, I think, was better in the courtroom. But the other thing is, Rudy has dealt with more international things being in charge with the mayor of New York, more than the governor of New Jersey, in my opinion.
Probably.
So I think that he is actually a better choice for that. We're up against a break. Create a new department, the Department of Injustice, and nominate Obama. Well, you'd finally have the perfect cabinet pick for that. Thank you, Ken.
You would.
I think that would be outstanding.
And then not run with any of the recommendations.
To just come up with a million different things, and no matter what, just sidestep it all.
Just be like, hey, we did an investigation, and that was found to be bullshit.
Yep. And Actually, Major Dave, who's a new guest in our chat room, brought this point up, is Trump is now the de facto head of the Republican Party, and he will have to pick who replaces Priebus. That change alone is a good start to draining the swamp. And I told you my thoughts on Priebus last week. You got old school GOP under your thumb now because you have Reince under your thumb.
Yep.
So when we talk about people to lead that party,
Trump's smart.
Alan West comes to mind as the new leader of the GOP. Alan West comes to mind. So all of these things are great possibilities, and that's how we solve problems here. On the Sackheads radio show, as I regurgitate other people's ideas. We're up against a break. When we come back, we have so much to talk about, I don't even know where to begin.
I want to get on to Little Kim's 9-page letter.
I know, but that might have to be the last 15 minutes.
I literally want you.
I know you want me to read the 9-page letter. I know.
Complete with accent.
We'll figure that stuff out, but we have more important things to talk about up front.
No, we don't. What's more important than a 9-page letter from Riddle Krim?
We'll be back in a minute.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Shaun.
Dude, I'm not saying coffee is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. I'm Sackhead Shaun, Sackhead Clint sitting across the way. Thank you so much for joining us for the second hour this lovely evening. So you had another point you wanted to make before we moved right along.
I did.
Somebody in the chat room just said Moose Wang. Because if that couldn't be any more of a Sackheads Radio comment, I don't know what would be. But go ahead.
Moose Wang.
Moose Wang.
I like it. Isn't that a position on a naval ship? Oh, that's boatswain, boatswain, or whatever, however you say it. What? I don't know. I'm not a seaman. I mean, I was a long, long time ago, but
many, many years.
Yeah.
Now you're more of a coxswain. Go ahead. I'm here all week. Tip your waitresses. Try the veal.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So Trump campaigned big time on saving manufacturing jobs.
Yes.
Here in America, and he's already started.
Mm-hmm.
The air conditioning company Carrier,
yes,
based out of Indiana, Mike Pence, home state, was looking to move about 1,000 jobs, if I remember right, overseas. And so America, Indiana, the state was going to lose those 1,000 jobs. They were going to be shipped out overseas. Again, more American jobs going overseas, and Trump was able to come up with some kind of deal with the company to save those jobs. So Carrier has agreed to keep those jobs here in the U.S. The details have not come out yet, but they are going to come out and talk about which jobs or how it worked out to where they're able to keep these 1,400, I said 1,000, 1,400 jobs from going to Mexico.
He's not even president yet.
No, yeah, not even president yet. I was happy. I'm curious what kind of deal.
Moose Wang, get on that gun turret. Mama in the chat room. Sorry, go ahead. That just made me giggle. It's no damn joke, son.
I don't even know where to go with this right now. Save 1,400 jobs. Go ahead.
No,
You're up. A Moose Wang. I don't know what to.
Oh boy. So switching gears. Yeah, I mean the guy hasn't even become president yet, and he's already getting something. He's at least getting faith in companies to do the right thing yet again. Which I think is pretty impressive. And listen, we had Ford. They said publicly, it had nothing to do with him getting elected, but you had Ford halting the movement of jobs from here to Mexico just days after the president-elect was chosen. So
I have to point something out.
Oh, boy.
I actually binged Moose Wang, and it is an actual profile on LinkedIn.
Somebody put themselves up as Moose Wang?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, why wouldn't you?
View Moose Wang's full profile.
Oh.
This is great.
And did you view it?
No.
Oh.
It's a pay site.
Come on. Come on. That would have been great to view.
Moose Wang 123 out of China. Information Technology and Services.
Okay.
Hey, doing research here on the Sackheads Radio Show.
I don't even know what to say now.
2 connections, according to Moose Wang.
Oh, good for you, Moose Wang. Congratulations. What's my segue from this topic to the topic that we were supposed to get into?
I don't know.
What is the segue? Just do what we normally do and just bull right into it.
Well, look, we could segue your home state's that college that banned the American flag.
Talked about it last week. Talked about it last week.
I thought you said segue.
I know. I need a segue. Doesn't matter. Earlier this week there was an attack Monday morning.
Terrorist attack.
Terrorist attack at Ohio State University. Somali-born student carried out the car and knife attack. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is now saying that he may have been inspired by ISIS groups. as far back as 2011. He was heavily influenced by Anna Alawaki. As we know, he was also the one who influenced the marathon bombing and the Foot Hood attack. Says that even Adam Schiff, a representative out of California, who's on the House Intelligence Committee, said that they're still going through his electronic devices, but it becomes clear that he was radicalized online. So you even have a Democrat coming out and saying, this is what we think it is, which is kind of a big deal. He obviously conducted his attack by driving his vehicle, which is believed to be registered to a family member, into a group of students who were outside of a hall on campus for a fire alarm. They're still looking into if there was a connection between that fire alarm, which was a confirmed gas leak, and the attacker. So you had all these kids outside waiting to go back first day after Thanksgiving break, waiting to go back into class, and this asshole takes his vehicle, plows it into a group of people, and then he gets out and starts slashing both the people he's just run over and other people in the crowd. What had happened was, witness reports, is that while when he crashed his vehicle, people ran up to the car to see if he was okay. And one of the first people to see if he was okay got slashed when he jumped out of the car with the knife and went after them. Fortunately, because of that fire alarm, fortunately for the good guys, a police officer was there within 60 seconds of the incident and immediately engaged the attacker and shot him dead. Very, very, very fine work by that officer. Put him into the ground. There were pictures of him online laying on the ground. And you know what? That picture needs to get shown everywhere. I'm glad he's dead. He deserves to die. Anytime you attack innocents, and I don't care what your inspiration is, innocent people in mass, I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. This particular jackass was inspired by Islam, and it said that he may have been inspired for an extended period of time. Like I said, it may go back 5 years. He bought the knife, or he did buy a knife. They haven't said if it was the knife, but, you can put that together in your head. The morning of the attack, so he died from the preliminary autopsy from a gunshot wound to the head and the chest. I'm guessing it was chest first, then head, but I wasn't there. The officer, whose name, 28-year-old Alan, I'm going to get his name wrong, Hurujko, it was hired in 2015 by the Ohio State University Police Department, and has always scored very, very high mark on any of his performance evals and everything. He appears to be an outstanding police officer. So, listen, horrible thing happened, which we know is going to continue to happen in this country. Stabbings are becoming much more common.
Yeah, and that's that's one of the interesting things. And I want to get off on a tangent here in a moment. I'll just do it right now. Look, we focus so much on active shooter attacks here in the U.S., even schools and so forth. A lot of schools and public agencies are getting spooled up on active shooter. Homeland Security has put out videos. Texas has put out videos. Run, Hide, Fight. FEMA has videos and active shooter information. So that information is out to the general public. It's not just tactics-related training for emergency medical personnel or fire or cops or whoever's going to be responding to these incidents. One of the things that has been transitioning over the last couple of years have been the incorporation of edged weapons into these types of attacks. Look, this type of violence is not unique to the United States
at all.
In other parts of the world, this type of violence has been more common, and the weapon of choice has been an edged weapon of some kind. We look at the same day as the Newtown massacre here in the U.S., there was an edged weapon attack in China where I think it was like 33 school children were attacked and injured and so forth. So this type of violence, again, nothing new. We're not unique as Americans, but we got the term active shooter because when that type of violence has happened here, historically the weapon of choice has been a firearm.
Right.
Now, that's not any kind of commentary on 2A. That's just a statement of fact.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be this transitional shift away from the exclusive use of firearms here into the United States into now this edge weapon. And we look at the UC Merced attack here in California. Terror-inspired, it seems. Civilian got involved and stopped that attack pretty early on, the construction worker.
Right.
We had the student that brought the knife to school in Philadelphia, stabbing and slashing attack. We had the Isla Vista rampage here in California. First 3 victims were killed with a knife. Guy gets in his car, tries to run people over, I think injured 7, and then shot 10, injured 7, and killed 3 before he was shot through the car door into the hip by an officer and then killed himself. There was the edge weapon attack, the beheading in Oklahoma, and on. And we can name several of these, but it's interesting how these edge weapon attacks have now made its way into the U.S. and many of them seem to have this terror component.
Look at the mall up in Minnesota.
Yeah, the
just
airport.
3 weeks ago. Then the airport attack as well.
The airport attack with a machete, I think it was.
Then you also had there was one more out there. I can't. Down in L.A. just recently, a Los Angeles police officer was attacked with a machete as well.
We had this highway patrol officer up in Northern California that was attacked with a machete. So, but
That's
these true random violences with the knife that really meet that definition of active killer. And I think we're seeing a transition of terminology as a result of that also, getting away from active shooter. FBI's last report, big shock, of active shooter did not meet the traditional definition of active shooters. A lot of the incidents they were referencing were actually firearms-related homicides or targeted violence.
Right.
So, which we can get into why that is and why they're trying to skew the numbers or whatever. But
can we?
Yes. But the active killer definition.
We know why they're trying to skew the numbers.
Oh, no, absolutely. There's no doubt, particularly under this administration.
Especially under this
administration. But the fact that you're looking at a picture of a dead terrorist on American soil again after this knife attack it just reminds us that we always have to stay vigilant. And folks, this is why your Second Amendment is so important. Not just
one of the many reasons.
One of the many reasons. This is why. What if that cop wasn't there?
Yeah.
Who else is going to stop that guy with a knife
on a college campus where they're specifically not allowed?
Yeah, in a gun-free zone. This terrorist was interviewed prior by the I believe it was the Ohio State University newspaper. I don't remember the name of the publication, where he talked about praying. And how he was almost afraid to pray in public on the college campus because he didn't want to be attacked or whatever. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, really. That's the problem. He was mad that he didn't have a safe space, and, so he made his own. I don't know how that works, to be completely honest with you. Other than the fact that he was so afraid to have his prayer interrupted that he went out and decided to run over and stab some people. So there you go. That's what you call fair. That's what you call people who get it. Listen, it's insanity. I've talked about it a million different times today.
The Lantern is the publication.
Okay.
Oh, we talked about the Ohio State University newspaper. It was called
No. Now I understand.
Yeah, and he saw himself as a victim of Islamophobia.
Okay.
Is referencing the article. So if anybody wants to look at it, this terrorist was talking about how he was a victim.
This bolsters his argument.
Yeah, he was a victim of Islamophobia. The article was August 25th, 2016 in The Lantern, which is the student newspaper for Ohio State University. I just want to make sure to source that out so that people didn't think I was just pulling stuff out of my...
No, I know. But the funny part was, though, is so far in the preliminary evidence, he was so afraid of Islamophobia then that he was already online getting radicalized.
Right.
On early evidence. So
look, this just shows how the left is bullshit.
Yes.
They hide behind the bullshit that the left espouses, these bullshit, made-up psychological terms, and he hid behind that, claimed he was a victim. before he went out and attempted to run people over and then stab them with a butcher knife?
It does.
He also claimed, if I'm not mistaken, that any Muslim who's not an active terrorist is a sleeper cell.
Yes.
That should chill every single American.
Well,
left or right, black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. That should chill every single American. That this individual literally views the Quran and Muslims as a religion. He views that as, if you are not an active terrorist, then you are in fact a sleeper cell, because that is what's commanded.
And I'm trying to find another article right now.
Look, he's laying the case out himself, from the words of a terrorist. He's laying the case out himself about why every Muslim is a terrorist. That's not anybody from the right saying that.
No.
That's
him.
That's him.
That's him.
That's a terrorist.
Well, and listen,
saying that.
And I can't find the article, but there was an article earlier this week where.
And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I'm about to lose my S right here.
Lose
on
it.
The air.
You have 8 minutes.
How the F does people on the left come out on Twitter, on social media, and say, oh, how come nobody's mad that a white cop shot another black person?
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? This asshole was trying to knife college kids.
Yeah, but you don't understand life from his point of view, Clint.
I don't give a fuck about his point of view. He was a terrorist piece of shit who tried to run innocent people over and then attacked them with a knife when they tried to help him.
I totally agree.
I'm sorry, I'm getting angry.
I know you should. This will make you more angry. You ready for this?
Yes.
A U.S. Islamist group arming up in anticipation of Trump. There are reports out there right now. There is allegedly a report that an Islamist group in the secretive compounds in upstate New York and other ones have been told by Pakistani Muslim leader Sheikh Gilani, who operates 22 Islamic villages around the nation. This is according to Clarion Project, who are pretty reliable. That these groups are being told to arm themselves in the wake of the Trump presidency for, I foretold, disastrous results should this man be elected the American president, Gilani said in a statement shortly after Trump was elected president. So you now have this guy out there who's in Pakistan, but he operates these 22 quote-unquote Islamic villages throughout the countries. You know these Islamic villages where Sharia law is actually in place inside the confines of these villages, even though the left in this country loves to act like they don't exist. You have more and more rhetoric coming out from the extremists and the left defending them. And then when folks like us said, hey, arm yourself up, protect yourself, oh, you lunatic, right-wing, conservative bastards, blah, guns, that's all you think, guns. Well, look at what they're doing. They're openly saying it. Openly.
Yeah, but if we put our guns down, Shaun, then they'll see that we're no
Barbara
threat
Boxer
to them.
mentality? We're going back to the boxerism?
And they'll lay their guns out. Yes!
What an ironic name on that woman, Boxer.
Yeah.
Because it only looks like she lost to one physically. Right. But she's never actually fought for anything literally.
Right.
Except for leftist ideologies.
Right. Well, that's fighting for something.
I don't think so. I guess if you're fighting for the wrong flag, you're still fighting. But this is what it's gone to in this country. They're in our face. I mean, this isn't them targeting these sleeper cells right now. This is a Pakistani Islamic leader who is a militant putting this out there to these Islamic villages that we know exist and telling them to arm up. There is a threat here.
Yeah.
We've seen it more and more play out. The bombing in New York, 4 months ago? 3 months ago now? Yeah. Have we forgot about that? The stabbing. All the little incidents that you don't hear about in major news. And they're all over the place right now. These incidents are happening. there are Muslims who are attacking non-Muslims for being a non-Muslim and just going to jail for the simple assault or the battery or whatever. There's no hate crimes being charged on these people. There's no terrorism. You have, and this isn't my information, I was listening to it last night on the O'Reilly Factor. You have a state professor, I believe it's Kent State, who is currently under the investigation of the Federal Bureau of Investigations for terrorist-related activity, who is still currently teaching at Kent State. I just want you to think about that for a minute. This is where it's gone to.
Yep.
And we're being told not to worry or it's fine, and I'm hoping everyone can hear this because I'm getting some staggering activity on the computer here. But this is where it's gone. And you still have people who are defending these assholes.